Hello everyone, I hope you've had a great week and welcome back to my channel. This is GP Made Easy. So today I'm going to cover urticaria because it's quite a common condition that comes up around the summer months, and there's a bit of confusion between the treatments available and what doses we can give to patients. Also today I'm just a little bit different today. I'm in my work uniform. Thought I'd give that a try, and yes, I know it is a little bit big for me, but I had it for quite a while and it's been with me since the sort of COVID times as well, so it's just become a little bit part of me. Before I start, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It lets me know that you're enjoying this content, it helps me know to keep making more. But anyway, let's get on with the video. So a little bit about urticaria. It's defined as an erythematous, edematous and itchy rash that is normally characterised by raised wheals that I'll show a picture of it right here. Normally involves the superficial layers of the skin or the mucous membranes, but can go deeper, and this is when it presents as angioedema, which the commonest thing that we see is the swelling of the lips. It's driven by degranulation and histamine release from the mast cells, and it can have an acute and chronic phase. Acute urticaria normally has a common trigger, such as like viruses or bacteria, but we'll cover these in more detail shortly, and they're normally self-limiting and don't last very long. Whereas the chronic phase is where people tend to get it on a daily or near daily basis that occurs for about 6 weeks onwards. It's very common, and about 1 in 5 people will at least have an episode of acute urticaria in their lifetime. Hence why I'm doing this video. But this could be higher because some people don't present to healthcare services with urticaria. It can have a variety of shapes, from a sort of single targetoid lesion to a nettle sting type rash to even larger areas of wheals covering quite extensive parts of the body. The time frame of the rash as well can vary from lasting a few minutes to a few hours. One thing to be aware of as well is that urticaria can also be linked to a couple of conditions, such as urticarial vasculitis. This is where the urticaria will be quite tender and feels like it's quite burning as well. They'll also have symptoms such as fever, anorexia, weight loss and fatigue. Another type of condition is where the urticaria can also be related to some autoinflammatory syndromes such as systemic juvenile idiopathic arthritis. Again, it will be an urticarial rash, and they'll have symptoms such as fever or arthralgia, or actually arthritic joints, and extreme fatigue. But just to be aware, that syndrome is a rare condition. So moving on to triggers. For acute urticaria, there's infections such as bacteria, viruses, parasites. There's the IgE mediated allergic reactions to commonly like medications such as antibiotics like penicillins or cephalosporins, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, insect bites, latex allergy, to foods such as dairy, nuts, soy, shellfish. This normally occurs within 30 minutes of ingesting those foods, and direct contact to certain triggers such as cotton or fabric softeners or any sort of contact. And then you also have the non-IgE mediated allergic reactions to things like morphine or codeine, muscle relaxants and vancomycin. So, triggers for chronic urticaria, there are many. Now the first one, which about 5% of the population have, is something called dermographism. Something I have as well. So it's where when you scratch the skin or any sort of friction to the skin, it leaves a sort of red mark from where the histamine is released. So to show you, when I scratch there, you get that little bit of redness that forms from the reaction. I've even done it as a joke sometime with some patients with my dermographism, that I've been up to them and be like, do you want to play some noughts and crosses? We can just do it on my arm. There's delayed pressure urticaria, where it forms after wearing tight clothing or waistbands or after sitting for a prolonged time, and that rash can last for up to 72 hours. There's cholinergic urticaria, where you get a reaction to sweating. This isn't just sweating due to exercise, it can be sweating from heat or even sweating from emotional stress. So there's some key things to look out for when someone mentions that they're sweating a bit and it happens. There's contact urticaria, again, to any sort of triggers, sort of similar to the acute ones as well. There's also vibratory urticaria, where people who have been using objects that vibrate a lot, they get a rash from that as well. There are a couple of rare causes, such as solar urticaria, where the rash develops within 30 minutes of UV exposure. In these patients, it's also worth checking if they may have lupus as the cause as well. And there's also cold urticaria, where people get a rash to cold temperatures. In these patients especially, you need to warn them if they're going to go somewhere where there's a sudden drop in temperature, as that could cause a large release of histamine and even lead to an anaphylactic type reaction. So, how do we manage urticaria? Well, the first step is, if they can, try and avoid the trigger. Next step is to have a look at their medications and stop any causative ones, such as ACE inhibitors or non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, or any antibiotic that they've been on recently. And the next step will be to move on to the non-sedating antihistamines, and these are cetirizine, loratadine, fexofenadine. So all three of these can be bought over the counter, so it makes it easier for patients. But one thing that is in the NICE guidance is an off-label dosage. You can go up to 4 times the recommended dose. For example, with loratadine, you could go up to 20 milligrams twice a day. Now, if you are doing that, the off-label dose is only to control the itching. It's not to get rid of the rash. So you just keep gradually increasing till at least the itch has settled. There are also antipruritic, anti-itch creams that can be prescribed as well, such as calamine or 1% menthol creams. And then if they have acute urticaria and it's quite severe, you can give a short course of oral prednisolone, 40 milligrams for up to 7 days. In chronic urticaria, the next step you can add in is the sedating antihistamines, such as chlorphenamine or hydroxyzine, and these ones you'd get them to take at night time. They can also take a non-sedating antihistamine with this, but the guidance recommends that you only go up to the twice daily dose. So for example, if you're using loratadine, it would be 10 milligrams twice a day. So when would you refer a patient to hospital? Well, in any case of urticaria, if they've got signs of airway compromise or anaphylaxis type reaction, then you would send them in. Chronic urticaria, if it's caused by cold or UV light, these patients would need to be referred, as they can lead to life-threatening situations if there's a sudden drop in temperature or a huge increase in UV light. This can lead to anaphylactic type reactions, and these patients end up needing to have an EpiPen to carry around with them. Patients have chronic urticaria and they've not responded to high dose antihistamines, and if you have any diagnostic uncertainty. And that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned something new. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It lets me know that you're enjoying this content and that I'll keep making more for you. And if there are any topics that you'd like me to cover, then write a comment down below and I'll pick it up and do a future video on it. Also in the description, I've put links for the resources I've used, such as the NICE guidance. There's also an RCGP learning module for you guys if you want to do some extra learning and get some CPD points for your appraisal as well. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, as I post more regularly on there. Again, it's the same name, GP Made Easy, and I'll pop it up here. But anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you in the next video.